head to Costa Mesa to find out who's number one. And the high banks of Daytona are the site for a road racing extravaganza. Moto World is next.
Moto World is brought to you by Coors, the first craft beer in bottles and cans. Coors, the original. Honda motorcycles, all-terrain vehicles, and scooters. Honda, come ride with us. Pro-Am Autolite, the makers of Pro-Am oil filters and Autolite spark plugs. Suzuki, ask your dealer about Suzuki retail financing for motorcycles and quad runners. Right on, Suzuki. And by Castrol, motor oil engineered for today's smaller, higher revving engines.
Hello, and welcome to Moto World. Starting off today's lineup is drag racing. An historic and bittersweet race meeting recently took place at the National Hot Rod Association World Finals. As Mark McKay reports, the event was highlighted by the final appearance of a living legend.
It happens to all great sports figures sooner or later. Some go out with grace and dignity, others stay in the game too long and tarnish impressive careers. On this warm fall afternoon in California, motorcycle drag racing legend Terry Vance was putting in his last ride. And if you know anything about the winningest rider in the sport's history, you just knew he was going to go out with style. To set the stage, it was the final round of the NHRA Pro Stock Championship. Florida's Dave Schultz held the lead in the standings over the living legend Vance. Schultz is the heir apparent to Vance's unofficial title of King of Pro Stock Drag Racing. In fact, he patterns himself after TV Terry.
Well, hey, Terry's good looking, he's young, he's personable, he's well spoken. It's one of those things, he's somebody that people look up to and say, well, I wouldn't mind being like that guy.
Many thought Vance and Schultz would meet somewhere during the program, but Schultz lost early on to the yellow and blue-clad Russ Olmsted. This is semifinal action, and you were about to see Olmsted react first and beat Russ Ninebird down the quarter mile to advance to the finals, where he would go against Vance in his last career run. Vance ran all alone on his semi-run after his opponent Steve Miles failed to get his bike to the starting line in working order. If Vance won the final and set an elapsed time record, he would be champion. Schultz could only wait and watch. It all came down to the final run of a long and illustrious career. Vance and Olmsted start off the line even, and neither seems to have an advantage over the other until Vance's Suzuki Katana pulls it out at the top end. Vance wins the race. Schultz takes the title. Once again, the swan song of one of motorcycle racing's most prolific champions. Afterwards, Vance shared the spoils of victory with the man who he feels is responsible for his success, business partner and engine builder Byron Hines.
To go out winning like that, and man, when I left the starting line, I thought that was it. I really did. We needed to set the record, win the championship, but we only won 8:02, and we needed to go 7:98 to win the championship, but we're really thrilled to win the race, and it's just a nice way to go out. They say you're only as good as your last pass, so I'm in good shape for the rest of my life.
For his monumental win at Pomona, and as a salute to one of the greats, Terry Vance is our Castrol Rider of the Week. But now retired Terry will receive a custom-embroidered jacket as well as a commemorative plaque for being named Castrol Rider of the Week. Reporting for Moto World, this is Mark McKay.
2 weeks prior to the NHRA World Finals, Terry Vance set new elapsed time and top speed world record marks during his final appearance for the International Drag Bike Association. Now, that's what I call going out for the bang. From drag racing, we turn to the subject of this week's Pro-Am Autolite Flashback, Supercross. The occasion, Rick Johnson's first ride for Team Honda. Chris Larson reports.
The year was 1986. The site, Anaheim Stadium. It was the opening round of the Supercross series. Superstars had changed teams, and veteran observers were trying to evaluate the moves. Two of the biggest lineup changes were Ron Lachine to Kawasaki and young Rick Johnson to the powerful Honda team. Johnson showed an aggressive riding style early on in the main as he took Scott Burnworth out and didn't look back for a moment. As the race developed, Honda team leader David Bailey caught up to Johnson, and the two went at it tooth and nail. Johnson with his aggressive hard charging and Bailey with his smooth technical riding gave fans their money's worth on this night. Johnson tried his roughhouse tactics on Bailey, but the Virginia rider kept pace. Back in the pack, Johnny O'Mara held down third place and protected the rear of his two battling teammates. In the end, it was Bailey who prevailed. The Rick Johnson Honda era had begun. Honda scored an impressive 1-2-3 sweep, and the fans were left standing and cheering. Anaheim 86, Supercross at its best. Reporting from Moto World.
With the championship being wrapped up way back in August, competition in the AMA 600cc Dirt Track Series has remained intense and exciting. The final event of the year was no exception. Let's take a look and you'll see what I mean.
Among those on hand to round out the inaugural year of 600cc racing was series champ Chris Carr. The factory Harley rider made the 2,500-mile trek from California to Georgia, hoping for a short track win to go with the half-mile, mile, and TT victories he had already recorded. Kevin Atherton from White Pigeon, Michigan needed a 13th or better to sew up second place in the series. Couple that with the Junior National Championship he had won earlier in the year, 2 600cc series wins, and you're talking a highly successful season. Also on hand, veteran dirt tracker Steve Moorhead from Findlay, Ohio. For the fastest time trial and heat race of the day, Moorhead, number 42, was awarded first pick on the grid. The years of experience in picking lines paid off. When the start light went to green, Moorhead went to the front. Then in the first corner, Brian Villella went down. The Pontiac, Michigan rider was quickly up and back into action, but out of contention. Meanwhile, pace setter Moorhead had his hands full. Heading the pack behind him was number 21, Will Davis, from Goldsboro, North Carolina. If Davis could pull off a win, and if Atherton failed to score points, then the North Carolina rider would close out the season with second place in the standings. That was enough incentive for Davis to try a little harder. When Moorhead bobbled, Davis made the pass. For the next 20 laps, Steve Moorhead no avail. Finally, in the late going, Davis opened a huge lead over the field. On the final lap, out of the final corner, a power wheelie to celebrate the win, his second of the season. Behind him, Steve Moorhead held on for second, while Terry Poovey from Euless, Texas, finished third. Kevin Atherton finished 10th and salvaged second overall in the series. In the winner's circle, Will Davis, who had spent the afternoon giving lessons in the fine art of short tracking, found himself on the receiving end of a lesson. How to uncork the bubbly. The rest came natural. It was the final spray of a season of 600cc racing.
This week's Tours Behind the Scenes segment previewed the 89 model lineup from Suzuki while providing some insight into the communication between motorcycle manufacturers and their dealer network. Steve Saunders has the story.
If you were flicking your TV remote control and came upon this scene, you would probably think it was another one of those political debates or dialogues concerning the big election. It is, in fact, a dialogue of sorts, but rather than taxes or Russian détente, the subject is motorcycles. More specifically, Suzuki motorcycles. This meet-the-press scenario was the communication vehicle used to help motorcycle entrepreneurs evaluate American Suzuki's commitment to their dealer network.
There's a lot of questions out there, a lot of uncertainty in the market. The market has been declining, but we're seeing some nice trends where things are stabilizing and starting to increase. And Suzuki wants to let dealers know we have a commitment. We're coming back in the RM market where we were very strong. We're staying with a complete line of ATVs, the most complete in the industry. And now we have a real strong lineup of motorcycles from top to bottom. We're committed, and we want our dealers to know we're committed to 1989 and the future.
We're offering our dealers solutions, ways that they can help their customers, increase customer satisfaction, earn a better profit, and be stronger in the motorcycle business. And, you know, everybody wins in that case. The customer wins, the dealer wins, and the manufacturer wins when we've got people making more profit and giving customers better satisfaction.
If you keep a sharp eye peeled to the industry's new product line, then you probably have had your curiosity aroused by all the display models. Young or old, big or small, off-roader or aspiring road racer, whatever your preference, American Suzuki has executed a marketing battle plan that offers something for everyone.
Well, we're trying to offer models that fill the whole range, all the market segments for the dealers. We have from the new RMX to the new GSX-R 1100. We feel that we have a bike for every market segment.
Many hours of carefully calculated decisions based on past marketing successes as well as past failures help determine what models will make up every dealer convention. Add to that a little guesswork about new trends and a quick look at what the other guys on the block are up to. Mix it all up, and there's your recipe for this year's lineup. Did Suzuki do their homework for 1989?
Team Suzuki presents the Moto World Suzuki Event Calendar. A look at some of the major events coming up in the world of motorcycles and ATVs.
If you want to get a jump on checking out all the new 89 models before they hit the dealer showrooms, Long Beach, California is the place to be. November 25th through the 27th are the dates. November is a big month for off-road enthusiasts, beginning with the granddaddy of them all, the Baja 1000. This year's classic will take place November 10th through the 13th. 2 weeks later, off-roaders can challenge themselves and their machinery at the Barstow Vegas off-road event. That event takes place on November 26th.
Welcome back to Moto World. Dennis Torres has joined me on the set for the story of the recent Daytona Pro-Am. And Dennis, I understand over 450 road racers made the trek to Daytona for this annual Rite of Fall.
Larry, whenever you stage 18 national championship events in classes ranging from novice to experts, you would expect a large turnout. But this year's Pro-Am not only attracted over 450 entries, but the riders represented 33 states. Grassroots road racing is alive and well.
For 3 days at the famed speedway, green flags fell, checkered flags dropped, and trophies were earned. With all types of machinery on the track and different degrees of skill level, the inevitable happened, and happened often. Take a look at this incident once again and watch the fallen rider get his hand run over. Ouch! The International Horseshoe seems to be a popular place for mishaps all weekend. For the most part, road rash on the leathers and the swallowing of one's pride were the results of these incidents. In between the races and practice sessions, there was lots of time for bench racing and other take-up-time activities. Even Moto World cameraman Scott McLemore couldn't resist a little road racing gossip. Another favorite pastime was the find a place to hang your leathers game. 87 Pro Twins national champ Doug Bronick on the right treats his leathers as if they were straight from Oscar De La Renta's personal collection. Later in the week, the leathers got worn in quite nicely during the Monster Bike Shootout, a 5-lap dash for cash contested by the 6 fastest qualifiers for the U.S. endurance race. Pit stops were part of the race, and here Bronick trashes his leathers and his bike. Fellow Team Lockhart members helped upright the situation, but it will still go down as a memory worth saving. With a little video magic, we can enjoy it again. And again. And again. Well, let's leave poor Doug and turn our attention to the big hero of the weekend, number 19, Canton, Georgia's Mike Smith. The 22-year-old rider took home 3 Race of Champions titles, riding everything from a Suzuki GSX-R 1100 to a Yamaha RZ 350.
Also on the Daytona Pro-Am weekend was the final round in the AMA U.S. Endurance Championship. 3 teams came into the 3-hour contest with championship aspirations.
Hoping to successfully defend their title and still in championship contention were Team Lockhart with our friend Doug Bronick, the pit stop master, and Massachusetts Dale Quarterly. Also gunning for the title, Dutchman Racing with Tennessee's Kevin Renzel and Steve Revier handling the riding chores. And last but not least, Team Hypercycle with Californians Carrie Andrew and James Dumais rounding out the championship hopeful. All were Suzuki mounted. 3 hours around the combined road course and super speedway at Daytona is a difficult undertaking. Pit work, consistent lap time, and dealing with the infamous Daytona traffic were on everyone's list of winning cues. Team Lockhart were the first of the championship-seeking trio to fall by the wayside. Early in the first hour, first stint rider Dale Quarterly threw the number 1 machine away out of camera view. The bike was too severely damaged to continue. Dutchman Racing were the next team to swallow the bitter pill of defeat as their effort was cut short by a defective gear shifter. They re-entered the fray after a long pit stop to eventually finish a disappointing 14th. That opened the door for a Hypercycle to assume command of the race, but they still had to race the 3-hour distance, keep the bike upright, and watch out for the other guy. Running a strong second early on and waiting to pounce if Hypercycle faltered was Team Wyoming, Canadian Ruben McMurder, and Dr. David Kiefer at the reins. In the end, Hypercycle held on to take the win and the championship, which was doubly sweet for team captain Carrie Andrew. He had been disqualified in March at Daytona, and the month of October brought a double dose of vindication.
Moto World congratulations go out to Team Hypercycle and to Team Honda. Why Team Honda? Well, if you haven't heard by now, the big news since our last taping is Honda's signing of world champion Eddie Lawson.
Dennis, I don't understand that. So many good years with Yamaha, winning the title in '88. Why would he want to change?
I think only Eddie Lawson himself knows the answer to that one, and as of yet, he's not talking.
Well, what we do know is, according to published reports, Eddie Lawson will ride an Irv Cantamoto-prepared Rothman's Honda in 1989. The other thing I know is that we'll be right back with the National Speedway Championship.
This week's Roll Raid's Rough Ride of the Week